right? So what do you mean by interfaces? Like yesterday I had talked about the drivers, right? I talked about Firefox driver, Chrome driver, iDriver, right? So will each driver, will you have to learn each driver separately? That's the question, right? So you don't have to learn each and every driver separately. Okay, each and every driver has a separate functionality, right? But if you look at the Firefox driver, right? If you look at the Chrome driver, it's got separate functions. So will you be learning each of these functions separately? Okay, the answer to that is no. Okay, so I think Karan, you have already joined the training, right? So many people pinging me. Actually, I was away from my desk. So, okay, I'll help you out after the class and all. So the thing is, there are three drivers: Firefox, Chrome, and IE, which I had talked about yesterday. And the question arises: will I have to, learn each and every of these drivers separately? And the answer to that is no, because there is a concept of interfaces which is there in Java, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new project for today, new Java project, day 2. Just hold on. And what I'll do is that I'll be getting the latest jar files for Selenium, the 2.53 version which I talked about yesterday. I'll give you the jar files again today after the class, right? So out here you have these jar files. So you add the jar files also in the lib folder, right? And this is day 2, and I'll create a new class over here known as, okay, let me not create a class. Now the question which was there is that will all the driver classes, will I have to learn each and every driver class separately? The answer to that is no, you don't have to do it. Okay, every driver has its own set of functionalities, right? So I'm going to create a new interface out here. Okay, and I'm going to call this interface, I'll tell you what an interface is. Okay, right. So yes, you need to add the jars for each and every project you create. Okay, so I'll call this interface. Now what do you mean by interface? I can create a new interface. Look, suppose you go to any bookshop and you have to buy a book for yourself. So you read a book, you pick up a book and you look at the cover face. The cover face of the book is like an interface to you which tells you what the book is all about, right? Or you go to any website, right? If you go to the website, hold on. Yeah, if you go to any website, if you go to my website, which is qtpselenium.com, this website is like an interface. Okay, this interface tells you that what we are offering, but how is it offered, how will be the training like? Okay, it doesn't tell you that, right? Okay, so interface is something which gives you a general idea what the system is all about. Fine. So, like if you go to a restaurant, you look at the a la carte menu and you order that, fine, I want this dish, I want to eat it, right? You look at the menu and that menu is like an interface to you which explains you that what the restaurant is offering. But you really don't know whether that thing will be for you or not. How will it be prepared, whether the taste will suit you or not, you don't know. So that's an interface. And similarly in Java also you can create an interface which will tell you that what the system is all about. Okay, right, you can create an interface, and for example I'll create an interface, say car. Okay, so what are the features of a car? Features of a car are like public void start, public void stop. So this is an interface car which has got two features, start and stop. In an interface you can only declare the functions, you cannot have the function bodies. You can only declare that start and stop are the two functions inside this interface car. How will the car start, how will the car stop, you really don't know. Okay, and in Java interfaces are implemented. What do you mean by implementation? I'll just create a new class known as, say, Honda car. Okay, so in Java what we do, we write like this: Honda car implements the car interface. Okay, that means the Honda car will implement all the functions which are there inside the car interface. Sorry. You move the mouse of the error and you select the function, add an unimplemented method. If a class is implementing an interface, then it becomes mandatory for the class to implement all the functions of the interface. That means that if I move the mouse over the error and select add unimplemented methods, then I will have to give the body to both the functions start and stop inside the car interface. Okay, so there should be a car interface, right? Inside that you have the function start and stop. If the Honda car is implementing the car interface, it will implement both the functions. I cannot just move, say I want to implement one function, you'll get an error. Okay, you have to implement both the functions, and then only this class will be complete. At the rate override, this is known as an annotation. This just means that this function start is coming from the interface car. This is just like a marker. If a layman looks at the code, he will come to know that fine, this function is coming from the car interface. Okay, and inside it you can print Honda starting and Honda stopping. Right. Similarly, I can make another car class known as, say, BMW car. Okay, right. And this will also implement the car interface. If it is implementing the car interface, it should implement both the functions from the car interface, start and stop. The name will be the same, but the name of the functions, but I can write inside it that BMW starting and BMW stopping. Right. So you can have the start and stop function. Okay. right? So out here you have got two cars, BMW and Honda, which are implementing this car interface. So the scenario goes something like this, that you have an interface and you have got two classes implementing the interface. What is the use of this? I could have never created the car interface. I could have never created this. I could have simply created two classes, BMW car and Honda car. Why did I create a car interface? What is the use of interface out here? Right? Okay. I hope you're getting my point. Right? Okay, there are a few questions. No, it actually what it does is it gives a structure to the application. If I have an interface and two classes are implementing it, two cars, if tomorrow if a third car comes up or a fourth car comes up or a fifth car comes up, you know that what will be the features in that car class. Okay, right? You will be knowing what all functions will be there inside the car class, right? All right. So this is the advantage. You got my point, right? So in Selenium, we also have interfaces. If you have an interface, if you just look at the interface, just looking at the interface will come to know about functions. And you know that all the classes which will be implementing this interface will certainly have these two functions. The implementation might differ from class to class. In Selenium also, this is the thing. If you go to the official website, which is seleniumhq.org. If you go over here and if you look at the download section and if you look at the you know the Java doc link, right, then whatever is in the italics is an interface. Okay, this is an interface. Whatever is written in italics is an interface. For example, if you scroll down, this mouse is an interface. Okay, and all the functions in the mouse are the functions from the interface. Okay, these are the implementing classes for this mouse interface. Similarly, if you scroll down, you will see that there is something written as WebDriver. Technically, WebDriver is an interface, and all the classes Chrome driver, Firefox driver, iDriver, all these classes, they implement the WebDriver interface. The WebDriver interface has got functions like which can be used to interact with the browser. like close, which will close the browser, find element will find an element in the browser, get the title of the page. Okay, there are various functions in the WebDriver interface which can help you interact with the browser, and all the functions will be the part of these implementing classes. So you don't have to worry that if you have to click on a link in Chrome or on Firefox or on IE, what will be the command? The command will be the same because all these classes, they are implementing the WebDriver interface. That is why yesterday when I talked about these classes, okay, when I talked about them, hold on. Okay, the get function used to take you to yahoo.com, right? The get function was there in every driver class. This is because every driver class is implementing the WebDriver interface. Okay, so all the functions in all the classes will be the same. So you don't have to worry in order to learn each and every of these classes. Anybody with any question, you can let me know. Okay, right? So the Firefox driver, where you create, whether you create object of Firefox driver or you create object of Chrome driver or you create object of iDriver, it really doesn't matter because every driver has got same set of functions. You don't have to learn every driver separately, right? So in day 2, if I create a class like this, that is fine. Okay, every driver will have the same set of functions because every driver is implementing the WebDriver interface. Okay, from the documentation, it is clear that these are the implementing classes for the interface WebDriver. Okay, right? So if I create a class, if I create a class like um, say Selenium browsers. Okay, now suppose we have a situation where I have a variable. Based on this variable, the script should work basically on this variable. If the variable value is Mozilla, then the script should work on Mozilla. If the variable value is Chrome, then the script should work on Chrome. If it's I, then the script should work on I. Later on, I will read the value of this variable from an XLS file or a properties file. So how will I implement this? If I have this variable Mozilla, then I should create the object of Firefox driver. If I have this as Chrome, then I should create the object of Chrome driver. Otherwise, if I have I, then I driver. So can anybody tell me how should I do this?
Else statement.
Pardon?
If else statement.
If else statement, okay. Anybody else? Okay. Look, if I use if else statement over here, right? If I use that, if I write over here that if the browser is equal to Mozilla, then I have to initialize the Firefox driver. Okay, I have to write like this. Okay, else if the browser is equal to Chrome, then I have to initialize the Chrome driver. Okay. Else if the browser is equal to I, then I have to initialize the I driver. Does it make any sense out here? Right. Just a minute, guys. If the browser is Mozilla, then you initialize the Firefox driver. You take the Firefox to Yahoo, and suppose if you want to interact with Yahoo or click on any link on the Yahoo, you will write the code over here. If the driver is equal to Chrome, you will take the browser to Chrome and you will write the code over here, okay, which will go to Yahoo and probably will interact with the Yahoo website. And if you have I, you will go to I, you will open I, you'll go to Yahoo and you'll write the code to interact with Yahoo on I over here. The functions are same. The only difference is that the get function is fired on the Firefox driver object over here. Then the get function is fired on the Chrome driver object. Then the get function is fired on the iDriver object. But does it make any sense that for every driver I'll have to write the code separately? Okay. Right? So it really doesn't make any difference or any sense. Right? That I make a separate code for Firefox driver and I make a code separately for Chrome driver, I make a code separately for iDriver. It actually really doesn't make a difference, or it really doesn't make a sense that for every driver I am writing a different piece of code. Are you understanding it? Anybody having any doubts? Please let me know if you are understanding it or not, because I'm not really sure. You're getting my point, right?
Yes.
Right. So the answer to that question, this question comes up again from the concept of interfaces. Till now I talked about interfaces and I told you that there is one advantage of the interface, that you need to make one interface and the classes can implement that interface. Okay, right. Now there is another advantage of interface. Okay, I'll create a new class over here known as say test.java, right, with the main function. Over here, first thing what I'll do is that I'll try to create the object of an interface. It will give you an error. You cannot create an object of the interface. I'm going back to interfaces because the solution to that problem lies in the concept of interfaces. Okay, I create the object of the car interface out here. It gives me an error over here. It gives you an error because in Java you cannot create the object of an interface. You cannot write new car because car is a interface. It's got functions inside it which are incomplete.
So I think it's just
Pardon?
a building block to create an action plan. Isn't that right?
Yeah. You'll come in. You'll get to know in 2 minutes. You'll get to know in 2 minutes. You cannot create the object of an interface. It is not possible. But you can create the objects of the classes implementing the interface. I can create the object of the Honda car. Okay, I can call the functions start and stop. And when I run this code, it will print Honda starting and Honda stopping. Similarly, I can create the object of BMW car. I can call the function start and stop, and when you run this, it will print BMW starting, stopping, Honda starting, stop. You can create the objects of the classes which are implementing the interface. Okay, and the function names will remain the same because both the classes have the same functions, start and stop. You can call them. Now the difference comes up. Suppose BMW says that it's providing one more feature like public void GPS, which is not there in the interface. It's a proprietary function of BMW class that it's offering a functionality like GPS. So in test.java on BMW class object, you can call the function GPS, but you cannot call this function on the Honda car. Okay, you cannot call the GPS function on the Honda car, but you can call the GPS function on the BMW car. Okay, because GPS function is proprietary to BMW. It is not there for the Honda car. Alright, it's pretty simple. If I run this, it gives the desired output. Now here comes something which is little twisted. It might create, some issues in your mind. So I would request you to listen to this carefully, whatever I'm going to tell you right now. Okay? Right? The problem, I'll come down to the problem. The problem was, right, the problem was that with this browser as Mozilla, I had to write the code again and again for every browser. I had to write the code to take it to yahoo.com and with Chrome, with IE, with Firefox. Right. Now the solution to this problem comes down in a different way. Till now, I have created the object of the Honda car like this. Honda car C1 equals to new Honda car. BMW car C2 equals to new BMW car. Now I am going to create the object in a different way. I am going to create the object like this. Car C equals to new Honda car. What if I create the object like this? The reference is of an interface and the object is of the class implementing the interface, or a new BMW car. It depends on me. Any class implementing the interface. Only thing is that the reference is of the interface and the object is of the class implementing the interface. With this I can call c.start and c.stop. Okay, I'll just put a demarcating boundary, and when you run this code, it will print BMW starting and BMW stopping. Alright. With this you can call the functions in the BMW car which are being implemented from the car interface. Okay?
Can we call the function the GPS?
No. You will not be able to call the proprietary function. It will give you an error. You can only call the functions which are there in the interface and coming down to the class BMW car. Then what is the advantage of this? The advantage is on the next line maybe I can equate C to new Honda car. And if I call the start and stop functions with the same reference t dot start stop over here, c dot start stop over here as well. If I call this and if I run this, it will print BMW starting stopping, BMW stopping and Honda starting and Honda stopping. It really doesn't make a difference. Right? I hope you understand. Right.
Yes.
So what happens is that I took a little break in between. What happens is that I can do something like this. I can write over here BMW car C5 say equals to null, or I can write C car C5 equals to null. Okay. Now based on my decision, right? Based on my decision, what I can do is I can make C5 equated to new BMW car, or I can make C5 equated to new Honda car. It's my decision. The reference remains the same. Okay, right. The reference remains the same and the object differs. If I write over here C5 dot start, and if I write over here the same thing C5 dot start, if I run this, it will give you a different output. Hold on. BMW starting and Honda starting. Now, how is this helpful? Right. Uh, how is this helpful? Okay. Look, this is helpful.
Because I think you are using
Yes.
the same references.
Yes. because
multiple handholding within memory.
because we have the WebDriver interface and we have all these driver classes implementing the WebDriver interface. So I can create the object like this: WebDriver driver equals to new, say maybe Firefox driver, and we can also create the object like this: web driver. Say on the next line I can make this driver object point towards new Chrome driver. It's basically on me because all these driver classes, they are implementing the WebDriver interface. I can make WebDriver equals to null, and based on my choice I can make driver point towards any implementing class. The functions will remain same in all the implementing classes because all the classes are implementing the WebDriver interface. But I can make driver dynamically point towards any driver class.
That way you are also
Okay.
utilizing less memory, I think.
Yes. So over here in this example, I don't need to write all this like this. I can make driver equals to null. Then based on my choice, I can make a driver point towards Firefox driver, or I can make driver point towards Chrome driver or iDriver. I don't need to write this code over here. Okay, the driver is null. Based on my choice, I'll initialize the driver, and after that I can write the regular code, maybe driver.get to the website. The functions will remain same. Okay, then if I have to get the title of the browser, I can write driver.get title. The functions will remain the same. I can choose my browser, I can choose the driver to be null, equate the driver based on the browser. Okay, right, and I can take it to the website, and if I run this code, it will go to the website. Right now it's Mozilla, so it will open Firefox. Okay, it will open Firefox, and you see that, hold on, yeah, it's open Firefox, and it will take Firefox to Yahoo. Right, and it will work. And similarly, if I change my browser to Chrome over here, so it will launch Chrome from this else statement, and it will take you to Chrome, yahoo.com, right, and it will get you the title of yahoo.com as well. So if I run this will launch Chrome, and this will take Chrome to yahoo.com. So you can open a browser in dynamic way. This will be used in the frameworks. Whatever I taught you today, maybe I'm taking a little shorter class today because I have to leave for a wedding today, as I told you earlier, right? But this concept which I've taught you is very important. It will be used later on. Okay, right? So, right, I hope you understood this. Anybody with any questions? So you can use an interface to dynamically open up a browser, because you can equate the interface reference to null and equate it to the implementing class, and it's going to work that way. Okay, right? So anybody with any questions in this?
So looks like we cannot initialize the interface with its own object, but we
Yes,
can always
yes,
uh, need always have the reference of the implementing classes.
yes. You can create the reference of an interface, but you cannot create the object of an interface. You cannot write new car. You can write car, say v equals to null. You can create the reference of an interface, but you cannot create the object of an interface. Okay, and you can equate the reference to any class which is implementing the interface, and that's what we are capitalizing on right now. WebDriver is an interface, the reference of WebDriver based on our choice, and I'm equating it to the browser which needs to be opened, and you're opening that particular browser and I'm working on it. Look, this is just a very small baby step into whatever I'm going to teach you right now. Okay, right. Look, the first two classes are trial. I know that people come to evaluate the class, but those two classes are actually for you to evaluate whether this thing is for you or not. Because believe me, I'm going to take you through this training, and I'm going to take you through some things which will never be very comfortable to you. These things, they are very simple. Okay, by the time we go ahead and we reach the frameworks and all, things will not be that simple. Alright, so you have to have a good knack of Java, and you have to learn Java, because WebDriver or Selenium is nothing. Java is everything. Right, I think my network is gone down. Just a minute. So anybody with any questions? Right. So what I'll do is that today we have talked about interfaces. The next thing is how Selenium works. You have um, opened up the browser, you've gone to the website, now you want to interact with the website. On a web page, everything is known as an object. A link is an object, a button is an object, a text field is an object, a browser is also an object. Everything, including the browser, is known as an object. How do you interact with the objects? How do you say you have to click on a link, or if you type in a text field, or click on a button? How do you do that? Okay, how do you identify objects? So that is the next thing, right? And I'm sorry, I had to take this today, but I will not be able to take this today because I have to leave for some, a function, a wedding ceremony, right? So I'll take this on the next weekend. Okay, I'm really sorry about that. I generally don't do that. Okay, so we'll meet on the next weekend. We'll cover day 4 and 5, and we will continue forward like this. And in the meanwhile, we'll maybe try to complete day 6 as well. Right. Anybody with any questions?
So will you be posting video for
Ready?
yesterday